Moving along to the next matchup. This one's a little bit two FCS powerhouses in the last 5 years for the Bobcats, last 10 years for North Dakota State, but two dominant rushing attacks meeting head-to-head in Bozeman. This is going to be an interesting one. The Bobcats are 2.5-point favorites. Fritz, I'll start with you. Just what has to go right for the Bobcats and overall your predictions for this game?
Well, I think, like I talked about last week, they got to get both their guys involved. Sean Chambers is going to be, on Saturday, going to be one of the top 4 players to suit up. And just like he was a couple weeks ago, and he just didn't get to play very much against the Grizz. And, a lot of it might have been situation, but I think they need to figure it out. Getting off to a good start would help. But even if they don't, as Coach Vegan said this week, if we get down 7-0, we can't just we got to answer and keep in the game and keep it going and use Sean Chambers as well as Tommy Malott. And I don't know. We'll see how it's a really experienced line on both sides. Cole Wisnowski stands out for the NDSU defense. He's a converted linebacker. Now he's a strong safety. Stands 6'4". He does everything for him. If the Cats can put a head on somebody like that, then good things will happen. And I think the Cats will pull it off.
It's going to be a heck of a game. And I took it right out of my mouth. They got to get Chambers more involved. Definitely looking forward to see what they do there. How about you, Ian? Your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's just going to take very quickly flushing away that Brawl of the Wild loss. Obviously not the result you want to have in a rivalry game, especially right before the playoffs. And then just get ready for a really hard-nosed physical game. You mentioned earlier just how exceptional both of these teams are, not just running the football, but they're also really good at defending the run. Both of these teams are in the top 30 of the FCS in terms of run defense. So it's really strength on strength in this game. I'm super excited to watch them and to make sure that's on my TV this weekend.
I feel like that's going to be a premier FCS battle right there, no doubt about it. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, kind of like what you guys said. They both run it really well. I guess it comes down to who can stop or slow down the other team more than the other team can slow them down. But Ian said they're both rushing defense is really good. North Dakota State's allowing 107 yards, and Montana State's allowing 122 rushing yards. So they're both really good against the run. It's kind of weird to see North Dakota State after, watching them the last decade or so being almost like invincible. It's like, what are they doing on the road in the playoffs? They should have their 3 home games in Fargo and then go to Frisco or whatever. So it's a little different. It's not your older brother's North Dakota State. The 3 losses are all to the Dakota schools, South Dakota, North Dakota, and South Dakota State. So what Fritz has talked about with Chambers and Malott, it could come down to that. It seems like when Montana State is running the ball well, one or both of them breaks some big runs, and that's where they get a lot of chunk plays out of their quarterback run.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And what you said about North Dakota State, right? Everybody's used to them having the first-round bye and marching on to the finals. I do think they're going to have a little extra motivation, kind of prove a point versus another big-time team who is strength for strength on both sides of the ball. It's going to be fun to watch. I think my biggest thing has to go right for the Bobcats. They could not throw the football in the first half versus the Grizzlies. 0 completions for 0 yards. You got to get Tommy Malott in a rhythm. Got to get Chambers involved early, kind of like everyone's mentioned here, and just kind of got to get the passing attack going so you can run the football. It's hard to beat a team like the Bison when you're one-dimensional. I saw a stat. I think it's been 23 straight games. The Michigan-Ohio State game's been won by the team with more rushing yards. It feels like in this one, whoever can run the ball more effectively has a good chance to win the game because strength for strength. If one of those teams bursts out the gate running the heck out of the football, they might just run away with it. But I think that's going to be a battle. I'm probably a little high on the score here. I got the Bobcats winning 38-35, but after hearing some of those defensive numbers from Ian, I'm thinking it might be a little bit lower. I did want to ask, again, Ian dropped some defensive stats here, so it might be a little crazy. Do you guys think there's any chance we see 600 combined rushing yards? If not, just like a total. I'm guessing we see 550. I think it's going to be a crazy track meet in this one. Mark, we'll start with you. Just your thoughts. You think we could see that? Yes or no?
Yeah, we could. It always seems like whenever you think you're going to see something, the opposite happens. So we'll see. I think both teams have had time to work on how to defend the others, and could come down to some crazy things. Like you said, if Malott can complete a few passes, or Chambers can break a few long runs and stuff like that, that could be the difference.
Yeah, and so evenly matched. Who knows? It could come down to like who makes a big play on special teams, whatever. What about you, Fritz? You going over under my high number there?
Yeah, that's a pretty high number.
Yeah, I think I'm going a little crazy.
400 might be possible, but I could be wrong about that too. But I think it's interesting. 2 years ago, they met for the national title. Malott was a freshman and got hurt right away. Andy Shoes, quarterback, has only gotten better since. In fact, Vegan said, since then he's just become a complete player, probably their best player on offense. And I think with those two, well, both teams play 2 quarterbacks, so 4 quarterbacks. I think you're going to see a lot of defenses really getting stretched out there. And but yeah, 400 yards.
All right, we got 400 from Fritz. What about you, Ian? Final guess, and we'll move on to the Grizz and the Blue Hens out of Delaware.
Yeah, I'm always really big on defense, so I'm going to go a little. I still think there's going to be like a ridiculous amount of rushing yards in this game. I'm going to settle around like 450, but 600 is a little outside of my comfort zone to pick there. But I wouldn't be shocked. All it takes is someone to break off a big run in that game, which is definitely possible with how good these teams are at running the ball.
True. I think I was getting a little caught in the moment there. I'm like, whoa, this could be an absolute crazy game. Could be 600 rush. Okay, yeah, slow it down, Josh.